Hello, this is Daniel Robbins again. So, wanted to say thanks to anyone who watched what I recorded today because I know that was over 2 hours. And there's one comment I looked at and I thought, I guess that is one thing I need to keep in mind. Other people are just not me. And I know I was using language like, that'll shut you up, and that wasn't very nice, and I apologize for that. Um, but I can say that I definitely just didn't know. So when I first wanted to count to 29,000, I had no idea the kind of mental fatigue I was going to endure. So it's probably one of the reasons why I want other people to know what I learned, because I sure didn't know it until I did that. But I guess if you hadn't even thought of doing something like that, you might not even wonder why anyone would think you should. So I think there's a lot of valuable insights that can be derived from that. And also, um, I think a mile is just a long distance, and it's, you know, certainly a unit of distance we use a lot when we're driving somewhere. Talk about how many miles away it is, or kilometers, being a little bit of a renegade Canadian by speaking miles, and I like doing that. So when I look up in the sky, I think it's reasonable that the sun and moon are about 3,100 miles up, and then the stars are about 4,800 miles up. I didn't always think that. I used to actually believe that the sun was, they'll say 8 light minutes away. So in other words, 93 million miles away. And I used to believe that the farthest known star was actually 78 sextillion or 6 miles away. I prefer to say it like that. Or they would say 13.2 billion light years. But it was always very important to me that I have those distances in miles and not in units of time, because I think that's deceptive. And so then I thought it was a bit of a challenge. How do you account for that light getting to us from such a distant star? Because of course, 13.2 billion light years, that's supposed to imply that the universe is at least that old. And I didn't believe that I never have believed the universe being that old. So then my question was, well, how do I account for the light getting to us from such a far distance when apparently the speed of light is, this is where I have to revert to metric, even though I'm loath to do it. But 3 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. But then I remembered Einstein's theory of special relativity, which I still believed back then. And I realized that according to that theory, it doesn't take light any time to get anywhere. So as you approach the speed of light, you couldn't ignore time dilation. So then you certainly couldn't ignore time dilation when you're going the speed of light. So then it doesn't take light any time to get anywhere, according to that theory. Um, Little did I realize that one day I'd simply wake up to the fact that the sun and moon are about 3,100 miles up, and the stars are no more than something like 4,800 miles away. And so there's no need for that. So that's where I'm at. And yet, again, when I start saying, that'll shut you up, well, that's not exactly building bridges with people. And, I don't want to burn bridges. And I know I saw that I lost at least one subscriber, and I mourn that. So I don't want to go around being all arrogant and saying I don't care if I lose subscribers. But of course, I trust you'll understand that, there are certain things I believe, and, I'm going to proclaim them as well as I can without, turning people off any more than I can help it. And, I would like to think that I'm really trying to help you all, and just thought I'd once again thank you for at least watching, even if you're not agreeing with what I'm saying, and I'll do what I can to just, I still remember reading what Dale Carnegie said. He said the best way to, or the, I forget exactly what he said, but the best way to get the most out of an argument is to avoid it completely. And I've just been realizing if I argue with you guys, it's not going to change your mind. We're just going to fight. We're just going to argue. So, and I also want to say, and I know I mentioned Jesse a lot for a reason. He kind of came out of nowhere. But so, yeah, Dale Carnegie, he writes, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." And then you're saying where he got that from. Well, I hadn't thought of that. So, thanks for that insight. So, no, we don't necessarily agree about everything, but can you, when you're out for a walk tomorrow, if you see any garbage on the ground, pick it up and get it into a garbage bin? I'll do the same, so that whether we're flat earthers or globe earthers, we're leaving the world cleaner than when we found it. How's that for, building a few bridges? And I could, I should do what I can to build some bridges. After that last message, I just, I vented. I just really, let loose with a few things that I felt like saying, and gonna see if I can just let you know that certainly don't want to unnecessarily turn anyone off. But and I'll say, the nicer you can be if you disagree with me, I appreciate that too. Just I got feelings too. I try to have as thick a skin as possible, but if somebody comes along and starts giving me attitude and making it sound like I owe them something, I don't really prefer that. So anyway, I guess I'll leave that. Let that suffice and go turn off my alarm and go to bed.